Portugal were the better side on balance, definitely more threatening than Czech Republic. In this game, they actually made Czech Republic look much better than they were. Both of Portugal's goals featured an element of good fortune. Let's take a look at how Portugal set up. They had Costa in goal, Nuno Mendes, Pepe, Ruben Diaz, Bernardo Silva, Cancelo, Bruno Fernandes, Vitinha, Diego Dallo, and they got Rafael Leao and Cristiano Ronaldo. So they started off in this sort of a 3-5-2, but once they got going, it started looking more like this. Rafael Leao shifted all the way to the touchline. Cristiano Ronaldo was in the center. Bernardo Silva was moving around this area over here. And then we got Bruno Fernandes somewhere around here. Cancelo was the midfielder, and he was also rotating here. Once the ball was here, he moved to this side. Once it was there, he'd go all the way over there. So he was basically a midfielder, and Vitinha was over here. He was probably the only good player in the first half who was making these forward passes. And we got the back three of Nuno Mendes, Ruben Diaz, and Pepe. What's going on here is that if we look at this formation, Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, Cancelo, even Vitinha, where do these guys actually play well? If you look at Bernardo Silva, he's playing over here, basically, and he's tucking in. So he's not providing that explosive winger role. You know, he's over here, over here, over here. So he's around this area. And Ronaldo's job is not to, drop deep, but to stay up around here and go for the goals. At his age, he's not expected to drop much deeper. But as we saw, this was his average position. He was much deeper, and they couldn't really create the chances. So we got Silva here, Ronaldo here, Bruno Fernandes, who's a natural 10, who stays mostly over here. He was playing in the pivot, but his natural position is here. Vitinha, okay, he goes up and down, but if you look at the game against PSG's game against Barcelona, this was his strong area, right? Although he does go up and down, but at PSG it's basically Fabian Ruiz doing the up and down work. And so this is his strong area over here. And then Cancelo, when he plays at Barcelona, they have the forward tucking inside, and he's the guy making the runs, and his defensive work isn't all that great. So he's also one of the guys who's over here, and Leao is the winger who's supposed to, go attack from here. And Nuno Mendes was constricted because they wanted three guys at the back. But against Dortmund and even against Barcelona, Mbappe would tuck in and he would be playing over here. So now if you look at this formation, if you look at all the profiles except Vitinha, everybody's used to playing over here, right? And so if this is the attack in Portugal's midfield combined, just for illustrative purposes, what's in the midfield? Where's the deep lying? Where are the deep lying players? Where are the guys who are gonna, give the passes forward or supply all these guys in attack? Sort of non-existent. And because Czech Republic, they wanted to bog down in the defense because they couldn't get the ball forward. They knew they didn't have the quality for that. Everybody was just pushed higher, but they didn't really have, despite having all the talent. Basically, if you look at Portugal, they had overlapping player profiles. And that's what Roberto Martinez needs to figure out, that, okay, they couldn't break down the low block of Czech Republic, but against better attacking teams, how is the system going to be effective? So that's the first thing they got to figure out. As we can see, Portugal's field tilt, it was mostly towards the left, and because it was towards the left, and Bernardo Silva was roaming around this area, how could they, create this attack over here? And once Rafael Leao is over here against the touchline, he becomes much more ineffective because then the only guy you're relying on is Ronaldo through crosses. And so there's no supply coming from this side. And so, everything just becomes very predictable. The only time Leao would come over here was when Portugal were attacking from this side of the field. There were no connections between the lines, as we said, because the player profiles of the midfield, other than Vitinha, everybody was basically, a high midfielder. There weren't really the suppliers, that those are their natural profiles, and that's why when Neto came on, it made a huge difference, and that's how Portugal ended up scoring. And because of that, if you don't have a midfield, what better teams will do is they will counterattack you once you lose the ball up here. Bernardo Silva, he was the best access point, but he struggled to connect with his fellow attackers, and that's just not been happening. It just didn't happen last night. The thing is that it's been happening at Man City as well, and the reason for that is he's very used to players like De Bruyne, Foden, and all those guys. Jack Grealish wasn't available this year, and that's why Haaland's output went down. But he's really used to, having a much more balanced side around him. Player profiles who can, play a whole bunch of different roles. At Portugal, that wasn't there. Portugal still have the technical quality to make some connections work. The move of the game came when Cancelo dropped, but was able to, engage with and drag the Czech CBs. Silva span around and into the box to connect with Cancelo's wall pass. How that happened was that, Leao was here, Ronaldo was here, Cancelo was somewhere around here, Silva was here, Dalo here, Ruben Diaz. Vitinha was the guy who gave pass to Cancelo, and Cancelo, gave it to Bernardo Silva over here, and then, they got something going. You have just a Ronaldo-based attack. It's going to be really easy for the better teams to stop them. The pass map, it shows that. Ronaldo over here, dropping deep, and Leao basically over here, who's he supposed to connect with? Roberto Martinez will have to tweak his tactics a bit. There is a flip side to this whole thing. It is these better teams who will push Portugal back, and they will have more chances to counterattack. And once that happens, with Roberto Martinez's tactics, they might actually play better against teams who will not set up in a low block, a block of a back five, and will give them more room. So the same tactics with just a little bit of tweaks might actually end up working in Portugal's favor as the tournament moves on. But Ronaldo played 90 minutes yesterday against the Czech team. Is Roberto Martinez gonna play him the 90 minutes throughout the group stage? Then how's he gonna be effective during the knockout stages? So, but yeah, I understand his point, because if he didn't play him this game, there would have been dressing room problems, and that would have ruined the atmosphere. And you don't want to ruin the atmosphere at the start of a tournament. So in the next game, Roberto Martinez might think about taking him off after the 60th or 70th minute.